though I think I was sorry to miss Las Vegas. Wasn't it Las Vegas that I didn't get to? But I am truly delighted, and I thank you so much, Tom, for the introduction. Very, very generous of you, and I am really excited about being part of this annual convention. And I want to say congratulations to the National Farmers Union. 107 impressive years. Yes, you guys are great. There is no organization that has offered a stronger voice for family farmers and ranchers, sustainable resources, our rural communities, and your impact is hard to measure, and your commitment has been second to none. And while it is an honor for me to be here with all of you today, I am saddened that this will be the last time I address the National Farmers Union with Tom Bias as president. I know that we have not seen the last of Tom, and I look forward to working with you in your new capacity, realizing truly what the full promise of renewable energy can bring to our economy. And however, we will miss you, and we will miss your leadership. I want to say a personal thank you to you. There were a lot of folks skeptical about a chair of this committee who was born and raised in New Haven, Connecticut. But you were open and always straightforward and provided me the opportunity to work with you, to learn a lot of things, and for us to work cooperatively together to try to get the job done. So I'm personally grateful to you for all of your help. And you know, Tom was instrumental in helping the Congress pass the 2008 Farm Bill. I think, in fact, it's safe to say that the Farm Bill would not have included mandatory country of origin labeling without Tom's help and that of the National Farmers Union. Applaud you. Not only did you help Congress pass a strong mandatory country of origin labeling provision, but Tom, you held firm. You pushed back when the prior administration tried to create a loophole that would have allowed meat packers to circumvent the intent of the law. Then came November with a new opportunity, and you and the union, Tom, showed the kind of resolve that I believe Secretary Vilsack had helped to lead him to make his announcement a few weeks ago, urging meat packers to meet the clear intent of the law. You will be leaving, and you will be missed. And Tom would say this to you directly, the National Farmers Union will remain a powerful voice in Washington because of the strength of its members. And I so look forward to collaborating with you in 2009 because we do have a lot more work to do. Indeed, if anything, the debate over country of origin labeling highlighted the nature of the battles that we are going to face in the months ahead. Our opponents tried to argue that the provision had nothing to do with food safety. But we know that food safety lies at its very core. While a cool provision is by no means a panacea, it does represent an important tool and a critical first step in tracing food to its origin, a fundamental element in any of our efforts to empower consumers and transform our food safety system. Last month, I introduced the Food Safety Modernization Act to separate food safety regulation from drug and device regulation, if you will, at the FDA to restore the balance, in my view, that has been missing at the Department of Health and Human Services. Essentially what it would be is to say, let's keep the FDA under the jurisdiction of HHS, but separate out the two functions, creating two individual agencies, one that's focused on food safety, one that's focused on drug and devices, where the President would nominate a commissioner and Senate would approve for each of the agencies and have its own resources, its own scientists, its own efforts to carry on food safety and allowing researchers to do their jobs. The most recent devastating salmonella outbreak is just the latest of many. And it represents, again, in my view, the full-scale breakdown of a patchwork of food safety systems, the consequence of a fragmented legal and organizational structure with insufficient authority and too few resources to be able to protect the American people. In addition to not protecting the public health, I believe that it is putting industry at a great disadvantage. When you take a look at what happened to spinach and lettuce and tomatoes and peppers and now peanuts and peanut products, it is unconscionable that we are putting the industry in such a position as to go out of business. That is not what we ought to be doing. We ought to be there to work in a cooperative way in which we help to protect business as well as to be able to protect the public health. In order to have a credible bill, we had to address the entire food spectrum, omitting no part of the process. But I want to make it very, very clear to you today that small farms are not the primary focus of this bill. We are conscious of the needs of small farms and the strains they already face. The legislation addresses foods under FDA jurisdiction only, not the U.S. Department of Agriculture. And it does not include mandatory animal ID. All the bill asks is that small farms develop a food safety plan, identify critical control points. And I look forward to getting your input on this legislation as we begin to move forward. Ultimately, it is about providing a new Food Safety Administration with the tools and the authority to meet its regulatory responsibility, to access important records, recall products, and penalize companies for knowingly selling tainted products, which seems to be what happened in this peanut butter outbreak, knowingly selling a tainted product. We included technical assistance for small farmers to help them comply with the law while targeting the large, high-volume food processing facilities that pose the highest risk to the food safety system. In the end, we need a federal food safety agency that is fully committed to actively preventing foodborne illness and not just reacting to it. With every recall, the American people grow more concerned, and the momentum for reform grows. While these are not new ideas, the push for change could not be more urgent. You have come to Washington at a critical moment. With our economy in crisis, communities, businesses, families on the brink, farmers in the red, we have an obligation to step up, to act boldly, and to help to restore our economy. The recovery package that the House passed last month includes significant investments in rural America, investments we fought hard to include, and we worked very hard to ensure we're still there in the final version. I want to say thank you to you for your support and the outside pressure that all of you applied at a critical time to help to make it possible. Without it, we would never have been able to secure $27 billion for rural development, including $1.2 billion for essential community facilities in rural areas such as health care, fire, rescue, and public safety services, $2 billion for guaranteeing loans to rural businesses, $350 million for watershed and flood prevention activities, and finally, full funding for the cost of almost half the products that USDA reports are ready to begin work in fiscal 2009, shovel-ready, if you will. We also fought hard to extend broadband services to the underserved communities across the country. Last year's Farm Bill represented a